Hey everyone, welcome back to Technique Tuesday for another week. So this week I'm going to cover off something that we haven't covered off before, which is going through Turkish Get Ups and using different implements for the movement, how to transition from one to the other. Now this came through from a question that we had on Instagram, so if you have any questions that you want us to cover off in regards to any technique stuff, movement-based stuff, difference between doing X and Y movement, what stimulus that will give you, just comment on this video, send us an email, send us a message, and we'll get to it one of these weeks. So, for a Turkish Get Up, most people generally use a kettlebell. So just so you're aware of what a Turkish Get Up is, I'm going to start from the floor, and then unlike they get up in Turkey, I don't know why it's called Turkish Get Up, but it is. I'm going to press that kettlebell overhead, have my hand down. Neither is going to be up on the same side as the hand as the kettlebell that's in the air. Then from there, I'm going to move to my elbow, to my hand, drive those hips nice and high, pass that leg through, come from here, standing up, and then I'm going to reverse that back. So I'm going to go a reverse lunge, hand out to the side of my hips, picking those feet up, hips nice and high, heel to the ground, hips down to my elbow, and then to my back, okay? And that's a Turkish Get Up. Now, one of the reasons why most people will start off with a kettlebell, in my opinion, is that it forces a better overhead position. So if I use a false grip on the kettlebell, which has the handle of the kettlebell running above my thumb, and then through the heel of my hand, it gives me a nice neutral wrist, and it positions the weight in a position where I'm able to get a good overhead position. So it's got me pressing up pretty well automatically without too much coaching. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of people will start off with a kettlebell. Now, you may not have a kettlebell and you may use a dumbbell. And with the dumbbell, the difference that I've found is you have to be a lot more mindful of the overhead position, just because that weight is not distributed on the back of your wrist. It's distributed on either side of your hand. So you have to really think about keeping that nice active position. And if you don't have great shoulder mobility and you use a dumbbell, ideally, if you don't have great shoulder mobility, this may be a movement that you need to work into. But using a dumbbell, what that means is as I come up, I tend to be able to do this, whereas with a kettlebell, it will force me into a better position overhead, just to where the weight is distributed. And then from there, I'm moving up, and if that weight is out in front of me, it can put a lot of pressure on my shoulder. So from a starting point and a transition point, I would start off with a kettlebell, get the movement right, make sure you have a good amount of mobility in that shoulder, and you're able to reinforce that good overhead position. Then from there, you can probably look to transition to a dumbbell, okay? Because then the weight is distributed differently and you're more mindful of what that overhead position is doing. And lastly, and this was where the question came in on Instagram, we got asked, how do you transition from a kettlebell to a barbell? Because we put a video up of myself doing a Turkish Get Up with a barbell. I obviously love this as a movement. I think it's a great full body movement to exhibit control and also build full body strength. But I would use this as a transition. So starting off with the kettlebell, then moving to a dumbbell, obviously the same or similar weight. And then from there, you can move to a barbell. Now, once you get to a barbell, one of the biggest differences that you will notice will be it's going to work your grip more. Now, ideally, you want to have a friend probably give you the bar while you're lying on the ground. I don't have any friends, or I do have one friend, he's just holding the camera at the moment. So from here, I'm going to start off and I'm going to get a nice solid grip, which is going to keep that barbell stable. And as I load the barbell, so I start to put weight plates on the outside, obviously it's further away from where my grip is, so I have to kind of hold it tighter. As I come up, I'm going to keep that same movement pattern, making sure that I stop in each position, because I really need to, now that that weight is further away from my center of gravity, I need to make sure that I'm able to control the movement all the way through okay, without letting it twist or rotate too much. So that's the key. And moving from a kettlebell to a dumbbell, then to a barbell, you're kind of slowly working that progression and getting used to the different weight distribution for the movement. So that's how you transition through. That's kind of the difference between the three implements. You can get so adventurous with the Turkish Get Up and use so many different implements once you get comfortable with the movement and the techniques on point. Doesn't matter what implement you use, the more unstable or the more further away from the center of gravity that weight gets, you need to make sure that you are taking your time with it and exhibiting control all the way through the movement. All right, hopefully that helps. That's a little bit of a transition there from a kettlebell through to a dumbbell through to a barbell. Got any questions? As I said at the start, just drop us a line below. We'll get to them when we can. Have a good one. Bye.